It is time to lay down my burdens and get to writing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Well, today is Tuesday, March 8th, and I come to you with some disappointing news. Last week was quite a busy week in terms of homework. I anticipated it. I knew it ahead of time that I would have 2 major papers for just one class in addition to the work for another class. And I should say that I also had a discussion post for that class with 2 papers, and I'm like, that's diabolical. 2 papers and a discussion post. But anyway, I thought that this week would be a little bit of a lighter load before next week, which is like the week where all of the major projects are due. And I was unfortunately wrong. I once again have 4 assignments, 3 papers, and just a small assignment. And then next week I'll have projects. So all that to say, writing has been stilted and stunted and not going very well again. I was really struggling with this, especially last night, because I wanted to start this vlog yesterday, but Sunday night I stayed up 45 minutes past my bedtime, and apparently that's too much. That's too late for Carrie, because yesterday by like 9:30 I was so tired I could not function, and I was in bed by 10 o'clock. And so I didn't get anything done because I not accidentally, but I didn't think it would be that big a deal to stay up 45 minutes past my bedtime. But apparently I am someone who just cannot function without 7 hours of sleep. And I hate that because I have so much to do. There's so much that I want to do. But this morning, as I was meditating over my tarot deck, I was kind of being hard on myself, thinking about how I have no discipline and thinking about how I have all these ambitions and goals and hopes and aspirations and absolutely no drive or discipline or real motivation to stick to my guns. I was asking the deck and the universe for guidance and for a sign, really, to show me that it wasn't all lost, that it wasn't hopeless, that I'm not as bad as I say that I am or that I believe that I am. And the universe answered because I drew the Fool. And if you're not familiar with tarot, the Fool is the very first card in the deck and represents new beginnings and kind of a leap of faith and innocence, really, and energy and kind of starting on a new journey. And I think that's exactly what I needed to hear, because there is something beautiful about the Fool who is embarking on an adventure, and they don't know where it goes, and they don't know what trials and tribulations may be ahead, but they're not afraid of taking that step anyway. While it doesn't exactly apply to what I'm going through right now, I think it was just the universe telling me that I wasn't this horrible, undisciplined, lazy person who talks more about what they want to do and spends less time doing it than they should. And maybe I just need to try and emulate the Fool a little bit more and have a little bit more wonder and a little bit more innocence and a little bit more curiosity, and not worry so much about what may come in the future and all of the trials and tribulations, and just worry about taking the first step of this new journey. And again, the manuscript is not new, the journey is not new, but maybe I can kind of turn over a new leaf and re-energize myself. So it is now just about 9:45. I'm going to sit down and get started on some writing. And my goal is to write for 1 hour. I would like to say I want to do 1 hour a day until the draft is finished. I don't know that that's entirely possible. There's just too many moving parts day to day, especially with all of this homework and things intensifying. But tonight I can do 1 hour, and maybe tomorrow I can do half an hour. But writing every day and making progress in the draft every single day if possible, so that I can hopefully get this draft done by May 1st, which would mark the 1 year since embarking on this particular project. I didn't start drafting until September, of course, but I picked the project and I started the world building in May, and it just feels right to kind of round it out at that time. I've got about 30,000 words left, but I think it's doable. Come with me as I embark on this new mindset of the Fool. back again with a quick update. It is actually now midnight. I took a little bit of a detour before and after the writing session to do a little bit of reading, so that's on me. And I actually did not even write for the full hour. I did about 35 minutes because I came up to a portion that I need to think through. I need to brainstorm. I'm still in the middle of that big fight scene, and I'm really proud of the work I did tonight. I think I had some good ideas, and the voice was really coming out strong, and I had an opportunity to explain a little bit more of the magic and how it presently is working for my main character. So the session was productive for sure. I got 496 words, so not terrible. And like I said, I've gotten movement. But like I said, I just need to think through the next sequence of actions because I really have not thought through this scene at all. In my outline, it was just like, they fight. This is the result. I haven't ever actually thought through the choreography of this scene. That's the other reason why it's taking me so long and why I'm really slogging lately, is because this is presenting such a challenge for me. So I'm going to get in bed and I am going to do some brainstorming and think about the next sequence of actions. And then I'll be back at it tomorrow, hopefully. I guess that's it. Hey y'all, it is now Wednesday evening and I don't think I'm going to do any writing of words tonight. I didn't sleep well. I'm very tired. I had a kind of a long day. My youngest child needs braces. That's what we found out at the dentist. So that was fun. And then I just had to do some running around. And then my other daughter had her appointment like she always does on Wednesdays. And then the video I was editing took way longer than I anticipated. And again, I'm just really, really worn out. All is not lost because I did spend some of the time while I was running around doing errands in my car workshopping a log line for Seekers of Empyrean. So I want to tell you what I've come up with so far. I think I'm like 90% of the way there. The end is not quite, I don't have quite the right word. So this is what I've got so far. Seekers of Empyrean is a Monster of the Week inspired urban fantasy about a young woman with a rare magical ability who is recruited by a secret government agency to track down and stop a growing threat to the magical community. So that's what I have so far. Like I said, I don't like how vague the growing threat to the magical community is. As I was workshopping it, I kept wanting to say hunt down a rogue agent, because when I literally first conceived of this story, that's what the plot was going to be, is that there was like a rogue agent from this government agency and they needed my main character's specific magical talent to capture them. That never actually materialized when I started brainstorming the actual plot. It sounded intriguing, but I didn't have like the legs for it. So I went in the direction that I have since gone. And yet I keep falling back on it when I'm workshopping the logline because A, it just sounds better and sounds cooler and feels like more tangible. And because that was literally like the very first idea I had about this particular story. So I'm trying to think of ways to kind of make that last little bit, growing threat, magical community, more specific, and I'm having trouble. I have a word for magic user. I think that's too specific and like it'll confuse people. But I don't want to say magic user either. That just feels very fumbling and ham-fisted. I'm really struggling with that last bit. Let me know what you think. If you think growing threat to the magical community is too vague, or if it makes you interested, like, ooh, what is this threat? How is she going to stop them? Or if you think I should come up with another way to phrase it. All is not lost. I did do that today. I've been thinking a lot about like the last time I went to DFW Con and how I was meeting so many writers and people would come up to you and say, what are you writing? And at that point I was like, ooh, I had just finished a first draft and I really hadn't thought about any of this stuff yet. I was still like very early on in my journey. And I want to be able to, when someone walks up to me and say, what are you writing? I want to be able to give a log line, like we'll just roll it off the tongue. I also did a little bit of brainstorming after I went to bed last night on how to proceed with the scene. And I did come up with, I think I'm about 60% of the way to a complete idea on the next steps of the scene. Listen, don't judge me. I'm almost there. I think if I go and lay down and think about it some more, I'll get the rest of the way there, and then I can feel really confident in writing tomorrow. At least I hope. I think if I give myself a night to sleep on it again, I will have gathered the different components I need to be able to write the next handful of paragraphs, because that's really all it is. It's just the actions. And this is what I'm talking about, that I'm not good at action sequences, is that each, like, it's like it's like choreographing a dance, and I don't have the head for that. And so it is taking me 3 times as long to come up with those steps. It just is what it is. I just keep telling myself I've got 2.5 more weeks of this level intensity of school. And next week will be just as intense as this week and the previous week. But after that, the last week of the term should be much, much easier. I've kind of looked ahead, and I only have 1 discussion post for one class. I don't even know what in the other class, but it'll be much easier. Thank God. I just got to make it these last 2.5 weeks. I'm so tired. That's my Wednesday update. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Hello, everyone. It is now Thursday evening. Yes, Thursday. Don't mind my face. I just finished a book that succeeded in making me cry. A rare feat. Not done in almost 6 years. So, I'm a bit distraught, but it is time to lay down my burdens and get to writing. I slept on it, and I've given it some more thought, and I think I'm prepared to actually move forward with this scene again, do a little bit more of the action fighting choreography. I don't know that I'll get all the way through it before I need to stop again, but at least I'm prepared to make some movement. I have also just learned that Natalie Jane Shields and Taylor Ann Wright are going to do another 10K weekend, and I think I'm going to do it. Guys, I do. I know it's probably not the smartest of ideas considering what happened to me after the last 10K, but I really need to get through this last 30,000. And I think if I have a big weekend, it will motivate me to get through the end of this damn book. I am still awash in homework. I actually took the day off of work today for health reasons. I had a gallbladder attack last night in the middle of the night that was very intense, but moreover, it completely ruined my sleep, and I was just so exhausted, and I got up and I had a migraine because I'd been laying in bed all night doing nothing, certainly not sleeping. So I took the day off and I rested. I had hoped to get a lot of my homework done while I was just sitting here intentionally, like, taking it easy. Unfortunately, this Global Dimensions in Business class is so awful, and the instructions are so vague that I don't feel confident in any of the homework I'm doing for them. So I wrote the majority of one of the assignments and then realized that I don't think I was answering any of the criteria. And it's just like, oh, answer these 5 criteria in less than 300 words. And it's just like, I can't. So anyway, so I'm having to just scrap the whole paper and start fresh and like go line by line with the criteria and answer it like directly and just hope that works. Unfortunately, I did not get the head start on homework that I was hoping to. It is what it is at this point. Fortunately, all of the live streams for this 10K weekend are in the evening, or at least that's what I have seen so far. And that works for me because that means I can spend the morning of Saturday and Sunday working on homework. So hopefully by the time that the live stream starts, I will have fulfilled enough of my obligations to not worry about it and spend the rest of the time writing. For now, I'm going to go sit down and work through this emotional turmoil and channel it into my own writing. I will check in with you guys once I've done a little bit of that. I think it was a mistake to try and write after finishing a book, but here I am. I have 241 words. It has been more than an hour, and I am going to leave it there and pick it up tomorrow with the start of the 10K. Hey y'all, just checking in before the first live stream for the 10K gets started. It is just about 5:45 on Friday evening, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit dubious. I intended to get some homework done earlier in the day, utilize my downtime at work, and I unfortunately did not do that. So I also have homework to be thinking about over the next 3 days. So we're not off to the most auspicious start, but I am still going to participate in all the live streams and do my darndest to get as many words as I can this weekend and fight through some of the blockages that I've been suffering with this fight scene. If I could just get out of this scene and get to the climax, which will be another fight scene, that would be swell. Ooh, what a good kitty. He's so handsome right now. You don't understand. I just got to get out of the scene. I just got to wrap it up. I've got the skeleton outline of the rest of the scene in my mind. I just need to work through it. So that'll be the goal for tonight, to finally finish the scene and move into the Dark Night of the Soul, and go from there. So let's get writing with Natalie and Taylor. Hey y'all, it is now Saturday afternoon, and last night I got to about 1,200 words before I stopped writing for the evening and focused on homework. I did finish that two-pronged assignment I was talking about, and then when I got up this morning, I knocked out another one of the assignments, so all I have left for the weekend is one paper. I do have to do some reading. I have like a 10-page reading I need to do for that paper, so I've got a little bit of wood to chop. But then after my assignment, I dropped into Cody's weekly Saturday morning live stream with Becca and got some more writing done. I am sitting at about 900 words for the day, but I had to leave the live stream a little bit early because I had an appointment I needed to go to, and then I had another gallstone come up, so I had to take a nap and sleep off the back pain that I was feeling from that. And then, unfortunately, I remembered that I cannot attend the live stream with Natalie and Taylor tonight because it's my grandmother's birthday dinner. So I will not be able to attend that live stream, which really puts me in a hole for getting 4,000 words today, which I need to do in order to make the 10K. It's a really rough weekend for a 10K. I have belatedly realized, especially only getting 1,200 words last night. Not the most auspicious beginnings for a 10K weekend, but here we are. So my goal is get a little bit more writing done. Let's see how much time. Oh, I've got a half an hour. Get a little bit more writing done, go to dinner, come back, maybe write another 1,500 words, at least do the reading for the paper, maybe get started, and then spend the rest of the night writing. I do also have to finish a book before tomorrow at 8 p.m. so I can go back to the library. And then I've also got to film a video, film and edit. I always do this to myself. I always overextend myself and never stop to question how I can possibly cram everything into a 48-hour period, but here we are. If I end this weekend with 5,000 words, I'll be happy. Let's just put it that way. And next week is a child-free week for me. I'm really going to put a lot of my energy into writing if I can, but also it's my project week at school, so I'll have 2 projects to turn in. It's going to tax me quite a bit, but I'm hopeful. I'm almost all the way through this fight scene. Almost. I feel like I have maybe 700 more words, maybe. I always underestimate how many words it costs, but pretty close to the end. And it has been instructive because I'm getting ideas of how or why the fight scene is this way, and how I want to develop later fight scenes. So it has been instructive. It's just taking a long time. Once I'm out of it, then I will be cruising into the Dark Night of the Soul, and then of course the climax after. So I can only hope that it will go faster after I finally get out of this scene. I would like to do that tonight. I would like to finish out the scene for sure tonight, and then maybe knock out some of the fallout of this fight scene. That's for later. I've got to, like I said, go to dinner, and I will check in with you. I don't know if I'll check in later tonight, but either way, we'll see. Hey y'all, it is now Sunday evening, and unfortunately, today has been a migraine day. First of all, last night I didn't get much further with the writing, unfortunately. I had quite a bit to drink at my grandmother's birthday dinner, and I came home and I wasn't really in much state to do much writing. I ended the day at just over 1,000 words, I think 1,062. And then, like I said, today it has been a migraine day. I have been in and out of bed, and when I've been up, I've been trying to get some other time-sensitive tasks done, namely my paper, which I did finish. Thank you, Jesus. I only have 2 weeks left of these 2 classes. Next week will be another ass kicking because I'll have a project, 2 projects, and another assignment. Anyway, so next week will be an ass kicking school-wise, but then after that, it'll ease off and then I'll have a week off anyway. And then I finished a book that I needed to return to the library at 8 p.m. So it was quite dire, and I did manage to finish that as well. And then I've been napping a lot and spending a lot of time in bed trying not to look at anything with a screen on it. So I did unfortunately miss both last night's live stream and today's live stream. And obviously the 10K is not happening. I even tried to compromise and say, okay, maybe I'll just do 3K today and just do a 5K weekend, but it's not happening. If I get back to my computer sometime before bed and write 500 words, it'll be a miracle because I'm still feeling really migrainey. But that is what it is. This weekend has really helped. I've added 2,000 words to this chapter in this hold please. In this scene that I've been struggling with, I'm very, very close to the end. I'm so close. I know what I need to do. It's just the actual physical actions. Again, this is a fight scene. To get to that point, I haven't quite pieced those together yet, but I'm so close. Unfortunately, health being what it is, it's not going to happen today, more than likely. That just gives you something to look forward to for the next vlog. I also anticipate breaking 80,000 words in my next writing session, or the next 2 at the very least. So I've got that going for me. And like I said, just getting through this fight scene and then getting the next couple of scenes down, which will lead into the Dark Night of the Soul. The climax I anticipate being another ass kicking because it's another fight scene. But it is instructive. This is something that I just have to learn, especially as I move forward with this series, which I very much hope to do. At this point, I would say that finishing by the end of April is in jeopardy, just because next week is another tough week homework-wise. On the other hand, I don't have the kids. It's their custody week with dad, so I've got that to kind of counterbalance the school workload. If I can pace myself, I might could get some writing done. I don't know if it'll be a lot, but it'll just be tough to make that April 30th deadline unless I can have a really big couple of weeks over the next 2 weeks. Can I get 25,000 words in 2 weeks? That would be impressive. We'll just have to see in the next vlog, won't we? So thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please do like and subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me the sword fighter emoji for this fight scene that I've been writing this entire week. I haven't quite decided what my Tuesday video will be for you yet, but I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.